Hello, and welcome to the Soul Elevation Podcast, guiding your ascension to new heights. I'm your host, Kara Goodwin. I'm excited to be here with you today on Friday, 10/10/2025, for this YouTube live stream. So, we are in the 1010 portal. Anytime you have those repeating numbers, that's always a powerful time every month when the numbers repeat numerologically. That's a powerful time. And today I want to talk about our mistakes and when we find ourselves, we think that we're off track and how that actually can be propelling our lives forward. A lot of times we can find ourselves in situations where we feel that we've gotten off track or we feel that we're wasting our time. I think about this in terms of relationships a lot of times. We may spend some time in a relationship, and then over time, that relationship no longer is serving our needs. And we might even feel like it's holding us back, it's working against us. And it can be easy to convince ourselves that we've wasted time. But the truth is, we don't know where the next step is going to take us. Every step that we take in life, whether that is the job that we're in, the relationship we're in, where we've studied, where what path we're taking, it might be a leader that we're following. We're always doing that in faith, right? So I myself have found myself a couple of times in terms of spiritual awakening where I have started following a group. This has actually happened twice since my awakening in 2016. And I'm getting a lot from that group at the time. And I'm also getting familiar with the group, right? I'm a little bit like, is this for me? Is it not? And so I'm feeling my way through it. Ultimately, with both of those experiences, I ended up leaving the group because eventually it came to pass that it wasn't a good match for me. And I felt that I was giving more by the end, I was giving more than I was receiving. It was time for me to move on. One of those situations was more benign than the other. The second situation you can read about in my book, Your Authentic Awakening. But that was an experience where kind of that my perception changed really, really quickly because other people were coming forward with some really heartbreaking experiences that they'd had where they'd been taken advantage of by the group. Luckily, with my personal involvement, I hadn't really gotten to that point I hadn't been in it long enough, but it gave me enough of a perspective and I could see, I the whole time that I was participating in this group, I was kind of like some things felt really good. I felt like I was learning a lot of useful things. I felt that I was going to continue to learn a lot of advanced things if I stayed with them. But there were other things happening where I was like, I don't know, this feels kind of icky. It feels a little bit culty. And is this really for my highest good? So, but with each step, I tried to keep my eyes open. I tried to keep my mind and my heart open because I didn't want to shut something off right away that may have been really good for me because I was suspicious. So it's this dance. And we might find this with a relationship as well. I have experience with this. I remember back, when I was like in high school and college with different people that I dated, where something starts out really good and then you get comfortable with each other and you may learn that you're not a good match, but you need that time with each other for things to for you to get used to each other, for you to give each other some space to really show your true colors because of course in the beginning everybody's showing their best face forward and it is through that getting comfortable with each other that you really start to see people's stripes and but it can be really easy to be frustrated with ourselves or with the other person or with the organization or whatever it might be, where eventually we see that it's no longer for our highest good, and it can be easy to tell ourselves, well, that was a waste of time, or I didn't get anything out of that, or whatever we might tell ourselves. I know when my eyes opened with that second organization, I was questioning a lot of things where I was like, is everything they told me, is that all not true? Which would mean that, that there is no awakening happening and ascension's a lie. And, maybe there is not even spirituality is not even true or right. Um, it made me question a lot of things. And you can come out of a relationship and completely change how you see that person and convince yourself that every single thing that they've ever done has been working against you. It wasn't true. And you can question everything. But the truth is that everything that we go through is working for our highest good if we allow it. So it doesn't mean that everything works out perfectly and it feels good all the time, but sometimes we need that contrast of what we don't want and what doesn't work in order to really get to the next right step. So this could mean that you're in a relationship that goes sour and you get hurt and you have a lot of frustration and a lot of negative feelings. And that helps you to be able to set the stage for what it is that you do want. What is it that you do resonate with? And you become a little sharper, you become a little smarter. The trick is that we heal our wounds as they come up so that we don't take a lot of trauma and baggage from the damage that's been done in a previous relationship into the next relationship. I know that again, when I was younger and on the dating scene, I know that there were a couple of experiences that I had where I got really hurt. And I know I took that into my next relationship and I became very paranoid with the next relationship that they were, any little signs that um they were not telling me the truth or that they were pulling the wool over my eyes, I was onto them, and looking back, I can see that I had some really genuine partners who were not out to hurt me, who were not out to cheat, who were honest and happy to be in that relationship. And I came at that relationship with paranoia and with thinking that I had to watch my back all the time and not trust. And it kept me closed off. So we want to take the lessons, we want to get wiser, but we also don't want to feel that we're going to fall into that trap all the time. So it is this dance. It's not a perfect science. We have to learn our way through it. We have to feel our way through it. And that is a really important aspect of moving through life is using our feelings and getting in touch with our feelings, because the feelings and even the sensations within the physical body are there to help us navigate through life. So if we go back to my experience where I was in like a spiritual organization that went south, I was getting clues within my feelings, within my body, where it was like something's off here. I'm not quite sure about this. And then my mind would come in and try to justify things or explain things or question things. So it was always this dance between my intellect and my feeling body and my physical body and the cues and clues that I was getting from my physical body. The same thing can happen as we're navigating anything. Our emotions are going to come in, our sensations within our body. We may feel a tightness where our body is responding, our body is closing off in protection. So we want to cultivate the emotions and the feeling nature of the body to help us to be able to navigate. And then when we maybe reach points in our lives where we thought one thing was happening and something else starts to show itself, where we're like, wow, that wasn't the truth. That wasn't for the highest good. That wasn't true for me, that whatever it might be. We then don't necessarily think that all is lost. Again, sometimes we need that contrast in order to know what the best next step is. I know that it was true for me that ultimately it was kind of helpful to have some relationships where things didn't work out and where I wasn't a good match, so that I could pick up on that and I could recognize it as I moved forward. And then I could really see when I did have a good thing and what that felt like. And I could eventually kind of soften those parts that were always kind of on the lookout for where I'm being duped. So again, it's not a science, it's a dance, it's an art. We just keep moving. But if we can keep tuning into the truth that life is working in our favor and things are continuing to orient themselves in the highest good, then we can recognize that things don't have to go perfectly in order for them to be useful. The universe and creation is very efficient and effective, and it doesn't waste anything. So even if we feel like we've slid backwards or we've wasted time or something wasn't worth our time, when it comes to the whole of our lives, those are opportunities for us to learn from, to have new experiences, to sharpen our skills, to practice forgiveness, to practice compassion, to take those kinds of experiences and help them to make us a better person. It may make us more understanding when we see somebody else who's gone through it, and then we can say, oh, that happened to me, or something like that happened to me. Let me share with you my experience. And there's that comfort there from somebody else going through something that we've been through on both sides, and it can help us to be closer to somebody. So all of these things, there are gifts in everything. So if you're finding yourself in a time, even right now, where you're feeling like things are not moving forward in the way that you want them to, just know that these are seeds. You might just be planting seeds for the next great thing to come through. And you might be learning a lot of really valuable soul lessons as you move through this challenge. And it's all working the way that it can for the highest good for your reality and for your creation. So thank you so much for joining me here as we're in this 1010 portal. I hope that you will check out the latest episode that I released yesterday with Chris Hancock. That was an amazing episode. He talks about his awakening from traditional psychiatric care, or sorry, he was a traditional therapist using mainstream techniques, went through a divine awakening, went through a mystical awakening, and now he works with people in a more holistic way in terms of energy modalities to help people to align with their higher selves. I experienced it for myself when he and I met before we recorded, and I had a beautiful experience with him using his divine modality. So there's a lot of great info and energy in that episode for you. I think it's number 501. So thank you again so much for being here. I bless you. I thank you. And I'll see you next time.